All right, guys, welcome to day 10 of the mini course here. This is going to be a very important video. This is going to be about scalping without needing daily bias. Okay. So I'm going to run you guys through exactly how I trade, if the daily is a little bit unclear, and what exactly I look at. This range is what I want you guys to pay attention to. Obviously, this is a very choppy consolidation range. And on the daily time frame, this does not look good at all whatsoever. We're just going from range high to range low to range high to range low. So how would I manage trading this? The only thing that's very, very important here is the draw on liquidity, right? You have to have a very clear draw on liquidity. Okay. So when I look at this chart, the example I'm going to use is this fair value gap here. Okay, now we're going to be tying everything in together that we've learned these last few videos. Okay, clearly, if we reject this fair value gap, right, from this fair value gap, our draw is going to be this low. Right, we're going from internal range liquidity to external range liquidity. That low and this low, and then finally that low, right? But these two are going to be the main ones that we watch. Once you have these marked out, you are good to go for your trade. Now, the align time frame for the 1 hour is the 5 minute. So we drop down into the 5 minute, and this is where you're going to want to see some sort of an actionable setup. Now, the setup, as you guys know, that I use is a change in stated delivery. Right here, we got a change in stated delivery. So this is a trade that I can take, right, off of the closure there, and I simply just target this low as my first target. That's 4.6R, and then drag that out lower for my final target. Okay. All we've done here is we've identified a higher time frame PD array inside of this leg, right? We're also utilizing, which I did not mention, we're also utilizing premium and discount, right? So if you go premium discount here of this specific range, see that above this equilibrium lies this fair value gap, which is in a premium. So this would be an ideal short, right? You don't need to look at a daily candle. You don't need daily bias for this specific move here, right? We're in a premium of this leg. We have a higher time frame PD array, and we have a clear internal range to external range move marked out here as well. Now that we triggered the setup here on the 5 minute time frame, you get into the trade, and we can see exactly how this goes. Right, we push into following day now. So this is the next day. This is Asia session, and there goes the first target, right? So there's your 4.6R target met there. And we can extend this out to the lower target and see how that reacts as well. And there you go. Before you know it, the lower target has been taken as well. Okay, so now following that example, we have the low of the range right here, right? This was the low that we had used. Obviously, this is very much in a discount. And so we can take some actionable long setups here, targeting the upside, okay? Now, for the upside, what do I see? I have a clear fair value gap, hourly fair value gap here. That's going to be used as our draw. And if I drop into lower time frames, I can see we have this midnight level that was not manipulated, right? So this becomes a clear draw. Anything above this midnight level, we have a 15-minute order block, right? So that's going to become another draw. And we can see if we have any actionable setups that form off of here that we can take, targeting these as our draw on liquidity. No daily bias needed. I'm not like going to a daily time frame to find a bias or anything like that, right? Now, the two actionable reversal setups that I've showed you guys are inverse fair value gaps and change in stated delivery, right? So inverse fair value gap, we have one right here. We can see if that inverses, and then we have a change in stated delivery level right here. Okay, so let's see what happens. So we get both of those happening right here. We get the inverse and the change in stated delivery. Enter there, stop loss at the lows, and obviously we want to target this as our first target. This is a 1-to-1, and then if we go 2R, that would put us like directly inside of this hourly fair value gap. Okay, so we can watch how this plays out. Okay, so there you go. There's our 1R target getting hit at our first draw, manipulated midnight very, very nicely. We can keep going and see what happens, but that is your TP getting hit. And there you go. There's the final TP happening right there. So perfect TP. As soon as the following day opens up, like 1 or 2 candles, 5 minute, just shoot up straight towards that TP for a full 2 hour to our next draw on liquidity that we had. Now that we've traded inside of this hourly fair value gap, which was our draw from the previous trade that I marked out, we actually opened up this 4 hour candle and left the lows not manipulated, right? So we have zero manipulation below these lows at all, and we can now frame another trade. So we have our initial trade that we had for this example was internal to external. Now we have an external back to internal, and now we can frame an internal back down to external, right? So we have that as our target and this as our target right here, right? See how I'm just using context clues from inside of this range? I'm not looking for any daily bias here or anything like that. At any point, I have not gone over the 1 hour time frame at all. Okay. So inside of this 1 hour, again, looking for actionable setups, inverse fair value gap or change in state of delivery has to happen on a 5 minute. Okay. So on the 5 minute, let's see what we can get here. Okay. So now on the 5 minute, we have this leg right here, which has some 5 minute inverses. We can take this first one right here and see how we react to this. Okay. So we inverse through that. This can be our short entry right here. Stop loss gets placed at that high, and we target the external range low, which is going to be this current 4 hour low or the low right there, right? This maps out a 6.8R trade, and we can watch and see how this plays out. This is going to go over the course of a few days, so might not be the cleanest move here. All right, slowly but surely, the trade does work out, and it goes to that initial sell side level that we had marked out. So that is your TP right there, and now we only have one other low that needs to take, and there it goes. Final TP hit, that's 6.8R. So as you can see, I'm not using anything beyond the 1 hour time frame. All you really want to do, the 1 hour is going to be the best one here. When you have a choppy range like this, is you want to look at 1 hour PD arrays, highs, lows, and you want to frame out internal to external and external to internal range liquidity moves. And that will give you an ability to be able to scalp without needing daily bias at all. So I'll give you guys one more example for good measure. We have this range right here, another very choppy range. So obviously our daily is going to be very, very choppy. We take out the low to the high like that. We mark out our equilibrium. And as you can see, underneath this equilibrium is going to be discount. This is where we want to be long. Above is where we want to be short. Okay. So inside of this discount, you see this hourly fair value gap. Okay. So this hourly fair value gap, we can now map out a trade from internal to external, right? What we want to do is we want to go down to the 5 minute. That's the aligned time frame here. And we want to look for either an inversion or a change in state of delivery. Now over here, our change in state is going to take place all the way up here, but we do have inversions, right? We have 2 inversions here. So what I want to do is I would want to have a limit at one of these or wait for price to come down and then market buy in. Stop loss, let's say directly at that low. And we are going to just target the high of the range. So that right there is going to give me 1.9R. I'm going to stretch that out just a little bit so I can get 2R. That gives me directly at this high, almost at this Asia high right here. So this is the trade that I have framed out. And let's see how this works. We got the change in state of delivery there. We also got tagged into the trade right there. Change in state gets retested here. And a very choppy move, but a move regardless. And there's our 2R complete to those previous day highs. So just to recap real quick, all we're going to be doing when not using daily bias, we're going to be looking at the hourly time frame or lower, and we're going to map out internal to external range moves inside of the chop that you're working within.